Tokonoma alcoves evolved as distinct Japanese features of interior design. They are chiefly found in rooms where guests are received. Different hanging scrolls and seasonal flowers decorate the Tokonoma each day in this historic inn. This Tokonoma reflects the curvature of the moon rising above a lake, an elaborate taste of motenashi, or hospitality, extended to visitors.
床の間が一番私たちの気持ちは表してるんだと思うし、お客様をおもてなしする心を込める場所ですね。
This historic Kyoto residence is over 300 years old. Every year, this household welcomes back the deities at the Tokonoma.
私どもの家の中で床の間っていうのは一番いい場所なんで、そこに神様を迎えてお祭りをする。
Meanwhile, a sense of freedom prompts the evolution of the Tokonoma into new forms.
自分の想像の中でここを床の間と決めたらどこでも床の間だというふうに表現も可能だとは思います。
Through the ages, the Tokonoma has changed to meet the needs of the people it unites. Core Kyoto unveils the inner depths of Tokonoma. This structure was built as a private residence by a wealthy individual some 110 years ago. It currently serves as a ryokan inn, where guests may savor Kyoto's lifestyle of yore. As the original owner was said to have a fondness for Tokonoma, a variety of styles remain throughout the inn. The entrance hall has a tsuridoko with a lintel above and its base flush with the flooring. The result is a simplified alcove. As the lower area allows freedom of use, Kyotoites typically favor these tsuridoko in smaller rooms. The Tokonoma in this room features a natural tree trunk as its decorative pillar. Such stylish pillars were used in lively rooms filled with guests. This Tokonoma graces the inn's largest guest room. The precisely squared pillars deliver a clean-cut appearance, indicating a consequential chamber. Tokonoma in rooms where the original owner received guests were designated as hondoko. They featured hanging scrolls and elevated baseboards decorated with flowers and other refined items. An adjacent space was reserved for the tokowaki, with staggered shelves for displays of writing implements and books. Tokonoma also functioned as locations to display art. Tamagaki Takako, who will inherit the inn from her grandmother, decorates the Tokonoma to suit her individual guests.
本日のお客様はハネムーンというふうにお伺いしてますので、日本では慶事事として使われる掛け軸として松竹梅鶴亀がよく使われますので、そちらの方をかけさせていただきまして、あとハマグリの香合の方を置いているんですけども、夫婦円満の象徴というふうに言われてますので、そちらの思いを込めてしつらえさせていただきました。
The Tokonoma conveys the young innkeeper's warm wishes for the couple's nuptials. Tamagaki adorns the Tokonoma with decorations inherited from her grandmother.
日本は干支がございますので、その干支によってこちらでしたらネズミの香合なんですけども、ネズミ年の時はこちらの方を飾らせていただいたりとか、こちらも馬ですね。なんで馬年の時は飾ったりとか、お祭りごととかによって、1年の四季をお客様にも楽しんでもらえるようにしつらいをさせていただいてます。
The decorations placed in the inn's many tokonoma herald the change of seasons. This scene announces the arrival of fall in Japan with a rabbit and moon motif. According to Japanese legend, a rabbit lives on the moon. The alcoves reflect the seasonal transitions and create differing atmospheres as their decorations are refreshed. Hence, they establish a fitting background for interpersonal communication. Tamagaki has been immersed in a Tokonoma lifestyle from her earliest days.
そうですね、昔から走り回ったりしてても床の間の上に乗ったりとかしたら、もう床の間に遊ばんといてっていう風に新鮮な場所やからって言ってすごく怒られましたね。
The toko was originally an elevated area where persons of high rank were seated. There are differing theories on the Tokonoma's origins. It is generally seen as having been an area with a desk and hanging scrolls, art objects, or other valuables displayed for appreciation. Kyoto is home to many Zen Buddhist temples. In the 14th century, rooms used by Zen priests were said to feature Buddhist paintings or portraits of high priests on the walls. Incense burners, flower vases, and candlesticks rested on a ledge below. The elevated ornamental spot created a forum for prayer and reverence toward exalted individuals. The ledge was eventually attached to the wall to create a built-in architectural feature which evolved into the Tokonoma. Samurai further influenced its evolution. A classic enduring example is found at Ninomaru Palace in Nijo Castle. This is the Tokonoma used by the shogun as he governed his samurai. The resplendent Tokonoma created an overwhelming display of authority and status. This structure has stood for a century. Its former owners were in the metal casting trade and were devoted to the tea ceremony. So the residence became a gathering place for tea masters. Today it is an inn. Its current proprietor, herself a tea master, welcomes visitors here. In tea ceremonies, guests are invited to sit near the tokonoma, the best spot from which to view the ornamentation. The hosts engage with the guests, to whom they show humble respect. The tokonoma is adorned with simple flowers, a hint of nature. As an elaborate backdrop for the tea ceremony, the tokonoma sets the stage for the hosts to demonstrate the depth of their motenashi, or hospitality. The hanging scroll conveys the host's mindset as they prepare for the tea ceremony.
今日おかけしてたのは日々これ口実14代淡々斎宗匠のおじなんですけれども、こんなコロナの時ですけれども、今日を大事に、そして明日につながっていくようだったらいいなと思って心がけてますので、今日はそんなおじにしました。その日の主役なんですよ、床の間は。特に掛物は亭主の心を表している。その気持ちが通じた時に本当のおもてなしができるんじゃないかなと思って日々努力しています。
The tea ceremony incorporates the tokonoma for mutual spiritual enhancement and bonding. Tamagaki Takako arranges flowers at her inn. As soon as she knew she would be taking the reins, Tamagaki began studying ikebana and considering the relationship between tokonoma and flowers.
やはり植物を命として捉えてますので、その火がどこから入ってくるかっていうのを意識して、そこは一番大事なところですね。
The window ledge was once a desk and used as the study. The light penetrating the papered screens illuminates the scroll and flowers. This was another method used to highlight the beauty of tokonoma.
明治からのうちは建物なんですが、明治にタイムスリップしたようなそんな気持ちになっていただけるように直さなあかんところとかも、なるべく昔ながらの素材に近いものを使って直していただいております。
Tamagaki had all the interior walls, including those in the alcoves, restored with mud to preserve their original state. The natural mud walls maintain humidity at a proper level and ensure a pleasant atmosphere.
床の間のしつらいをパッと見るって思考でなく感覚の方がすごく研ぎ澄まされて、自然と体もふっと緩んでリラックスして心を落ち着ける時間になるんじゃないかなって。
A quiet residential area in Kyoto. In the basement of one home, among the antiques and an art gallery, stands a unique tokonoma. Hanging on the wall is a stucco window from a warehouse. Beneath it, an old floorboard. The decorative planks have been repurposed from a ship's saturated hull. The tokonoma was produced by Masa.
床の間っていうのは概念だけの問題なんで、床の間があるから飾るんではなくて、心の中に床の間があると感じて、自分が物を飾るために床の間が存在すると思ってもらいたいなと思ってます。
A tokonoma can be created anywhere there is a desire to embellish. Masa uses materials left behind by earlier generations to create new beauty. This folding screen, for example, was improperly stored and is now beyond refurbishment.
これを修復するというと相当な費用がかかってしまって、それで手つかずになって旧家の蔵の中で結局日の目も浴びずにそのままボロボロになっていくことと、虫食べていったっていうことでどんどんこれも廃棄するものとして変わっていくんですけれども、これを結局直せということでいくと難しいんですけれども、こういう状態の良い部分とかをカットしてあげて、もう一度パネルにしたところで見ていただくと、もうこの印象とは全く違った印象になると思います。はい。
The result would look like this. Masa's philosophy is to retrieve abandoned items and rework them as art to be enjoyed in daily life. A historic dining establishment dating back a century was renovated into a hotel. The elegance of the traditional structure was retained, while comfort and function were enhanced. Masa was commissioned to renovate the hotel's interior. A bed was placed in a former parlor. Masa added a hanging lantern recovered from a temple to an existing tokonoma. Several panels cut from a folding screen now adorn the tokonoma wall, with a vintage vase situated beneath. The items harmonize to create a relaxing atmosphere.
「屏風としての命ってもう終わってしまっているんですが、マサさんが手を加えることによってまた一つのアートワーク、また新しい作品に生まれ変わって、後世の人に伝わっていくっていう、このホテルのそもそものテーマ性と、似通った部分がありますので、マサさんに依頼してあります。
Paper removed from a gold leaf folding screen was attached to an oblong panel. Sumi ink was then used to draw multiple lines, invoking a breeze blowing across an autumn field. This work was created by a graffiti artist.
ストリートの方っていうのは本当に一回きりのチャンスで描いた線、それの勝負感が僕すごい好きだなと思ってご依頼かけました。
The project was a collaboration with traditional features. The Tokonoma was designed to complement the ceiling as it appeared in the original historic restaurant.
古い京都の一生引き継いでいくっていう気持ちもありましたけれども、この当時のチャレンジに対して今のチャレンジを床の間に最大限に表現しようと思って。
The Katsura is one of the major rivers flowing through Kyoto. Ishiwari Taruhisa's property stretches out beside the riverbank. His family has farmed there for some 300 years. Ishiwari is parishioner of a 1,300-year-old shrine, which serves the local community. He welcomes the deities to his home for the duration of the shrine's spring festival. It is his role to prepare for that celebration.
私の知る限りでは江戸時代中期、その頃からこういう祭りごとをしていて、小さい頃から見てました。で、当主になる者がずっと受け継いでます。
This annual festival is dedicated to an abundant harvest and has been handed down for over a millennium.
お祭りの期間中っていうのはその神事に携わらなければならないので、家に不幸があってはいけないのと、また怪我をしてはいけないので、お祭りの期間中無事に過ごせるようにというので床の間にお迎えをしております。
Ishiwari places the festival ornaments in front of the Tokonoma in the parlor.
「私どもの家の中で床の間っていうのは一番いい場所なんで、そこに神様を迎えてお祭りをする。
The Tokonoma is this household's inherited place for prayer.
Tokonoma っていうイメージなんで、Tokonoma。
なるほどですね。これちょっとここら辺ですかね。
そうですね。全部がこう宙に浮いた最終的な。
Masa is collaborating with Shinya Yamada, a modern artist, in preparation for an upcoming art project in Kyoto.
空間ごと額縁にしようとしてやってるしつらいになるんです。自分の想像の中で床の間が出来上がっていくっていうことを僕は感じていただけたら。
For the current project, he is doing the labor himself. Masa originally aspired to become a furniture craftsman. He is using a traditional technique of refinishing. Planing wooden surfaces and highlighting uneven grain teases out the expressiveness of the wood.
年月を経て出来上がった表情がそれほど魅力的でない古材もたくさんあるんですね。でそういったものは多分ユーズドの古材としては使われずに結局同時に処分されていると思うんです。でそこの表面に起こし直すことにおいて古材というものが使えるっていうニーズの幅を広げようとやっております。
Masa's hands work new life into the old wood he will use for the tokonoma.
Ah, いいっすね。
ええ感じですか。
いけたいけた。
Yamada's picture and the old plank. Free of walls, they seem to be suspended in space.
こういうことによって自在にどこにでも床の間っていうのは存在することができるっていうのがリアルにこう見てもらえるっていういい仕上がりになったんじゃないかなと思います。はい、
現代の表現の床の間ってこうなるんだっていうこともすごく感じられたし、多分これが床の間なのっていう、それは当然ハテナ置く人もいるかもしれないですけど、でもなるほどなと思う方もおられると思うんで。
京都ってすごく長い尺でお付き合いするっていうお考えの方やっぱたくさんいらっしゃるんで、この床の間の形に表現したもので違いを感じたりとか共有できる部分を感じたりとか、それが僕はすごくこの床の間の中の魅力だと思います。
Tokonoma reflect diverse expressions of beauty. It is where hope and imagination take form in the everyday life of Kyoto.